Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of Talking Halos. I am your host today, Jared Timms, and I am joined alongside my co-hosts, my partners in crime, Nate Green and John Craine. You can see us if you're on YouTube. Hello, how we doing? This is exciting. I like it. This is fun. I still enjoy the YouTube type of thing. I know we are not the best looking of people, but it's a lot of fun. It's fun. It makes life a lot easier communicating on our side. So, fellas, John, start with you because I don't care about Nate. John, how you doing?
I'm really kind of taking precedence over Nate here, just at least at the beginning of our podcast.
Oh,
I'll get old pretty quick, and then Nate, I think, will take the front seat again.
Never.
I'm gonna have to start wearing a hat because you guys are putting my hat game to shame. I'm loving the hat by John. I'm loving the hat by Nate. I'm gonna have to pull the hat game out. I don't know what kind of hat I'm gonna wear, but
he didn't get the memo, John.
I didn't get.
Yeah, well, it might have something to do with my lack of hair. I wear hats pretty much everywhere except for work, where I'm not allowed to wear one. So the hair thing is probably mine. You still have some hair there, Jared. So
a little bit. We're graying. We're going. If I shaved, I'd look like LeBron. Receding hairline with my 5 head, but it is what it is. So, Nate, how you doing?
My March 26th looks like it's coming true. I'm pretty disappointed in that, but it is what it is. We'll move on.
I love that saying. It is what it is. We got to work with it. We live with it. We just kind of we got to move on from it. You know, there's not a lot of good news on that standpoint. In fact, we weren't even going to talk about it. John had questions. We'll get to those at the end because I do think it's a little bit significant to talk about it. I honestly, at the beginning, I was thinking about it. I was like, there's nothing to talk about. This isn't even good. You know, at the end of the day, like, why even talk about it? But I feel like we can break down a little bit and maybe give a glimmer of hope. I don't know. Maybe, probably not, but we'll see how it goes. So, guys, as you all know, I like to start this podcast off with a question, get the brains thinking a little bit. So I know that some of us have probably been at some of these games, maybe both of them. And Nate, I'll start with you. What would you rather see, a no-hitter or the cycle?
This one's actually easy for me. I'd rather see a no-hitter. I'm a pitching guy. I love to see a no-hitter. The cycle, it's awesome. You know, it doesn't happen as often. But, you know, typically those games are 13 to 10, or either it's a blowout or a high-scoring game, and those aren't as much fun. Typically the no-hitters are a little bit closer and a little bit more high intensity and more fun to watch. So I'm going to stick with the no-hitter. John,
what do you got?
Well, you probably know, Jared, I was on the magical night when the two combined for the no-hitter on Skaggs night. And if you haven't seen the video, I'll tweet the video of me reacting with my wife. I'll take a no. I mean, yeah, that's it. I mean, that's bucket list for me. I saw a no-hitter. So, and throw on the fact that it was on Skaggs night, they went to the mound, but it was such a magical night from the beginning to end. And, but no, I'll take a no-hitter. I mean, you know, maybe Otani. I watch Otani get a cycle. That would be exciting for me, but yeah, no-hitter hands down.
I'll take the no-hitter as well. I've seen 2 no-hitters. I was at the Weaver one. I was at the Skaggs one. Well, the Pena Taylor Cole one.
Yeah,
but it's considered the Skaggs one.
Skaggs game. Yeah, no, I know it wasn't his no-hitter, but
yeah,
the sense was he was there.
Oh, I was at that game. I mean, I want to be honest. So this is how superstitious I am. I did not go to the bathroom that game, and I really had to go. I didn't go to the bathroom the entire game. I showed up in stuff that I would never wear. I wore flip-flops to the game. I wore a T-shirt, and I wore shorts. I would never, ever wear that, combination to a game just because I'm just not a big fan of that. And it was the most unbelievable game. It's the most unbelievable game I've ever been to. So I'll take the no-hitter for sure, especially if it's going to be like that, 1,000%. Like that's unbelievable. However, I've never seen the cycle.
Have you tried wearing that gear to another game? Please tell me yes.
No, I don't think I have actually.
That's terrible.
I know.
Let's just say that's the worst thing I've heard all day.
I know. I don't. I've never worn that stuff to a game, by the way. But back to this, I've never seen a cycle before. I know Devannon had it. I think Figgins went for the cycle, if I'm not mistaken. And last one, obviously, Shohei Ohtani. But Figgins and Otani weren't at home. Last one still is Jeff Devannon at home, correct?
Didn't Trout hit for the cycle
Trout
at
hit
home?
for the cycle. Trout
At
did
home,
hit for the
he
cycle.
hit a bomb in his last
Yes,
debut.
I wasn't at that one either. He hit at the Grand Slam.
Yep.
I think into the Trout net, by the way. Tip the cap to that guy for that. But yeah, I've never seen the cycle before. So I mean, for now it's a cycle. Like I've never seen that in a game before. I've hit for the cycle in slow pitch softball. That's easy. But I've never seen the cycle in person. I've seen no hitters. I've never seen a perfect game though. You ever seen John? Have you ever seen a perfect game in person? That's rare.
No, that was the Skaggs night was the. I mean, I was just that's the closest thing. That's the only no hitter I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then some people will say like, well, it wasn't a complete two pitches. I don't care. It was. I mean, again, if you were there, you know how magical that night was. So.
Well, I mean, they put up what they put up a 9 spot in the first or something like that.
Yeah, it was a very comfortable win. Yeah,
a 9 spot in the first or something, like 6, maybe it was a 6 spot, but they put up a bunch of runs in the first. Trout had a 445-foot home run. I mean, it was the perfect night. Like you couldn't have written it better. So
because we never had to worry about them potentially. They could potentially blow the no hitter, but they weren't going to blow the win right off the bat to take that pressure off of you.
Yeah,
and so
that was a special night.
No hitters.
Yep. So, guys, just thanks so much for listening to this podcast here, Talking Halos, making us the best Angels podcast out there. I truly do believe it. If you could go subscribe, click the subscribe button. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're not, if you're just listening, click the subscribe button anyways. Leave us a review, whether it's good or bad. We've been getting a lot of interesting reviews lately. We fixed Nate's issue. He's got a mic now, so whoever left that review, hopefully you enjoyed better sounding Nate, I think is the correct way to say that.
I don't think anybody likes hearing me talk anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Nah, I don't like hearing you talk. So
I do. I listen.
I got one friend.
I've listened when I'm not on, so
at least we have one listener.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, I gave a review a long time ago. I don't think they don't let you do a second review, do they?
Well, I don't know. But I know there's one on there, I believe, from your wife because it says, John is the best. And I think that's it.
Maybe one of my daughters. Not my wife. No,
that's clutch.
My wife's not going to go public with I'm the best, okay?
That's good. So, guys, you can follow myself on Twitter, Jared_Tims, Nate at NateGreen34, and John at Jegs Craine. John, did I get it?
Yeah.
Yes. Woo. Got it. And John's been on Twitter a lot more, so go follow him there. He's been crushing the Twitter scene. So
I'll be sharing my no hitter. My no hitter video live after this one.
Absolutely, do it. I'm like I said, my favorite game I've ever been to. I've been to a lot of fun games, but that was hands down my favorite game that I've ever been to. So, guys, I have 6 different catches categorized out in 3 different sections. So 1 against 1, if that makes sense. I'm going to say the 2 names. You guys say which one's better. I have, by the way, 2 Trout ones. I'll be specific about those 2. But they're very similar catches. If you've seen on Twitter, I've been kind of rolling through a couple of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yes. So the first pair of catches is going to be Jim Edmonds or Willie Mays. John, I'll start with you. You can say which one you like better. You can say which one is better. But 2 iconic catches, 2 of the best catches of all time. What do you got?
Well, I don't want to slight Willie Mays because Edmonds was an Angel at the time, right?
Yes, in Kansas City.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, then I'll go with Edmonds because he's an Angel. If only.
I'll let Nate speak first, but I have my opinion on those 2 catches.
Yeah, I already know where Jared's going to go, but just because I've got to be different and, Jared and I can't say the same thing. I'm going to go with the Willie Mays catch. I think that is one of the most iconic catches. Even, you can say maybe it wasn't that great of a catch or whatever you want to say about it. It's still one of the most iconic catches. A very tough field to play at as well, actually. The Polo Grounds, very deep in center field. He had a lot of room, but he had a long way to go on that play. So I'm going to go with the Willie Mays catch just because it's so iconic. Like, you can just say Willie Mays, and that's one of the first things that comes up. You say Jim Edmonds, I don't know if that's really the first thing that comes up, but, there are a couple things that probably come up with Jim Edmonds. But I think with Willie Mays, the catch is like one of the first things.
That Jim Edmonds catch is the best catch of all time. And before I get any slack for that, any heat for it, it is the best catch of all time. It's unbelievable. It's one of the stupidest catches. I mean, there's not very many catches out there you can say are better. Like if they had StatCast on it, it's probably a 0% catch probability, maybe a negative. I don't know if that's a thing, but like not a possible, like that's just an impossible catch to make. That being said, that Willie Mays catch should not have ever been made either, because that ball was hit 460 feet to dead center field, knowing Polo Grounds, because Polo Grounds is like 505 to dead center or something like that.
I think it was 504, but yeah.
500 feet to dead center. So, I mean, you can say the same thing about the Willie Mays catch. And I don't know what the score was of that game, but I know that was a game-changing play.
I believe it was tight.
Yeah. That was one of the most iconic catches, the most iconic catch of all time. I mean, when you think of Willie Mays, you don't think of anything else but the Willie Mays catch. I mean, everybody who catches a ball like this, you know, if you're watching this, you can see that it's the Willie Mays catch. You know, like everybody shoots something and they say Kobe. Like everybody catches something basket-wise, and it's Willie Mays. So that's I don't have a correct answer there, but I do think that the Jim Edmonds catch was the best catch of all time. So on to the next catch. Mike Trout's catch where he scales the wall, or King Griffey Jr. where he scales the wall.
And this is the one at home, correct? With Trout.
Yes, Mike Trout at home. So Nate, I'll start with you. There are two of them. I know. I'm hoping you know the Griffey catch.
Yes. I've seen it on Twitter. They're very close, very similar. I think Griffey gets a little bit better of a jump on his, so he gets a little bit easier of a glide up the wall, where Trout kind of got there at the same time as the ball, which was amazing. That's such a tough one for me, because I am a huge Griffey guy, but Trout is unbelievable. I actually think the one in Baltimore is better for Trout.
We'll get to that.
I know. So because I think the one in Baltimore is better, I'm going to go with Griffey on this one.
That's fair. John, you know which two we're talking about here with these catches, right?
This is the one you shared on that I commented on Twitter, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Then I'll stick with what I got. In fact, I have that plastic figurine that climbs up the wall on my desk at work.
Love it.
Nice.
So I'm going to go with that. I think it's at work. Yeah, it's not here at home.
Yeah. For me, you know what makes the Trout catch just a little bit better? Victor Rojas and Gooby. That's a great call. I love Victor and Gooby during that call. That's like, and I was at that game, by the way. That's the best catch I've ever seen in person before. I've seen a lot of good catches. I saw the JV Shutt catch down the line. But that Trout catch is unbelievable. Like there's like that's something you practice in batting practice. You hope to get a play like that. But the fact that Griffey did it too is pretty impressive. And the fact that they're both basically the same pit player when you look at stats, like up to this point in their careers, is pretty remarkable as well. Just, you know, to put Trout and Griffey on the, you know, the same pedestal. And we talked about first ballot Hall of Famers and where all those guys lie. So, I mean, I think that Trout and Griffey are very similar, but I give the edge to Trout just because I was at the game, and then listening to Victor and Gooby was super special. So last one here. What do you got?
I like the shout out real quick. I like the shout out to Rojas. I really miss him. I liked him very much. I've ran into people who are detractors, you know, but I really enjoyed listening to those two. And we were at a restaurant somewhere, and it was in Anaheim, and I don't remember. I can almost think of it. Anyways, and she just started going on. I don't know how it even got up. I think it was the waitress. She just went off about how much she couldn't stand him. I don't get it. I thought it was awesome.
Those are the best. That's the best duo in baseball. Like behind Vince Scully at the time. Scully was the best. Fine, that's fine. It is what it is. But Victor and Gooby were the best duo in baseball. 100%. Like it's hard to listen to other games, and I know that everybody listens. Like we all listen to the Angels a lot, and it's Victor and Gooby. But like Victor, like after hearing last year compared to the years previous, like it just shows how good Victor really was at calling a game. It's special, and I hope that we see more Vasgersian, because I like Vasgersian, but Victor and Gooby were a special pair for sure. So
I agree.
Yeah, last pair of catches here. Trout, I think rookie year, sophomore year maybe, in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Or Gary Matthews Jr. John, do you know what the Gary Matthews Jr. catch is that we're talking about?
No, I do not know what the Gary Matthews Jr.
in
catch
Texas,
is.
Correct.
In Texas, Gary Matthews Jr. It's not with the Angels when he was with Texas. I'll forward it your way when I see it, John, when I find it.
I'll Google it right now.
Google it right now for us and see. Those two catches are two of the best catches of all time as well. Nate, since John's looking it up, what do you got?
Yeah, this one is my favorite Trout catch of all time. So I am going with Mike Trout on this one. Gary Matthews Jr. It was an unbelievable play to go up in Texas, up against the wall. I remember watching.
Run.
Yeah, and I remember watching the fans. Whenever a home run was hit to dead center in Texas, all the fans are jumping in the middle. They're trying to get that home run ball. It's fantastic. But Mike Trout's catch in Baltimore, again, when you think of Mike Trout's catches, that's the first one that comes to mind. I don't know if that's because it was, one of the first great catch he had, or if it's just because I think it's the best catch he's ever had. But yeah, the one in Baltimore is unbelievable.
I think John has seen it now. I'll say
I'm watching replays of that.
We got live action on this.
He's got. Yeah, if I could switch it around, I would, but I don't think I can.
But, I'll say my piece on it before I let John go. Unbelievable, both unbelievable catches. Trout jumped from the grass, basically, which is impressive as it is. That's a damn impressive feat that he did that, and how far he jumped. Gary Matthews Jr. scaling the giant wall. That's a big wall. That's like a 7-foot, 8-foot wall there in Texas.
Pretty much has his back to it for the most part. He
didn't look up. I give the edge to Gary Matthews just because I don't think he actually saw the ball. I think he just jumped and put his glove up there. But the Trout catch, there is a special place for that as well. Like I said, both those are top 5 catches in my opinion of all time. Those are 2 of the most unbelievable catches ever. So John, I'll also let you say your piece now that you've seen the Gary Matthews Jr. catch, because that's an impressive catch. He did not. I still believe he didn't look. I don't think he saw the ball.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that. He doesn't. He does. You're right. I think it's a general idea where the ball is, but his back is pretty much the whole situation, and he's kind of got his arm even. I'm holding my arm back like this. His arm is even back like that. So yeah, I mean, it's not a straightforward catch. It's a arm twisted thing. So yeah, I agree.
Well, I'm glad
that's impressive.
I'm glad we could enlighten you on a catch, John.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I'm glad we could enlighten you on that. Those are the 6 catches that I got. Next one I'll do is probably the Trout versus Matthews. I might throw Edmonds in the mix. I know Edmonds had a catch like that in St. Louis. That's very similar to that. That could be, very, very good side by side. So, but look forward to another one, some more of those, because I'm really enjoying doing those. Which one, who did it better. So that was fun. I'll try to do that a little bit more. Maybe we'll do some stat comparison or something. I think that'd be a lot of fun. See who you guys pick. So on to the next thing. The Angels were in the news. Well, kind of. A player on the Angels was in the news. Shohei Ohtani is the face of MLB The Show. He's the man.
The show.
MLB The Show. I know I don't play video games. John, do you play video games?
No, it's probably been about 4 years ago. I bought a brand new Xbox One, which I still have. Yes. But they're all outdated. I don't have time. I play games on my phone, but I don't rarely sit down. I think we use the Xbox more as a VCR. I mean, as a DVD player at this point. That's why we got it out of storage, so that we could watch DVDs. So
perfect. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to play the video game, but it's awesome to see that. Actually, I'll give you this. Oh, Nate, I'll let you say your piece. It's pretty cool, right? Are you going to play? Are you going to get it?
I actually do play the MLB The Show games. The only thing I'm a little disappointed with the cover is that they actually spelled show correctly. I was hoping that they would make SHO more, pop a little bit more, make the W kind of, blend into the cover or something. So it kind of looks like Show Ohtani, but no, I'm super excited. I think that he is the right guy, and this, is going to, I've seen so many tweets about the Stephen A. Smith thing saying Ohtani and, isn't the face of baseball. And now all of a sudden he's on the video game for baseball. And so I think that's great. I'm really excited that he gets this opportunity, and, he deserves it. I mean, he had an incredible year. He's, the only guy who pitches and hits and does it at an incredibly high level. I think it's really good for the game too. I think this is going to get more people involved. Maybe some more people that weren't 100% baseball people, but they're going to be like, oh, this is really cool what Ohtani does. So I want to play baseball. So I'm really excited for it.
Absolutely. And we talked about this.
So maybe,
what's up, John?
No, good. I was just going to say, maybe this will escalate the contract talk so they can get this guy signed to a long-term deal as soon as possible. But,
yeah. Yeah, oh no, definitely. I know a lot of Angels fans want to see him in Angels jersey for the rest of his career. I wouldn't be against it. I know that I've spoken otherwise against it, but I wouldn't be against it. It's Shohei Ohtani. It's Shohei freaking Ohtani. I mean, if you look at it from a marketing standpoint, there's not too many other guys in baseball that you can market like that. Mike Trout, even. I know that Mike Trout isn't a huge guy with the marketing side of things, but yeah. And then Nate, what you had to say is perfect. We've been seeing the growth of baseball throughout the world. We had somebody ask us a question from New Zealand. We've had the boys on from across the pond of LA Angels UK. We've had them come on the show before. Had a blast with them. I would love to see if we could get some people, from Japan. That'd be an absolute blast to see if we can get some Shohei Ohtani fans on and talk with them about some stuff and just continue to just grow baseball. That's I think the big thing with Ohtani. I think that Ohtani is just growing baseball right now, and it's just a fantastic thing to see. So with that being said, Nate, you said it perfectly, the face of baseball. I don't think are we in a disagreement that he is the face of baseball right now? John, he's the face of baseball, right?
How can you have that season and not be the face? That I mean, I'm even looking at the show that putting him on the front of the video game is. I mean, it's kind of like a no brainer. I mean, How could you not pick him after this year?
100%. 100%. I mean, he's got to be the face of baseball. I know that stuff that Stephen A. Smith said, and such like that. That's absolute bullshit. And excuse my French there, but Nate, you're in agreement, correct, right?
Oh, absolutely. And the craziest thing about this is Mike Trout has been the face of baseball for a little bit. He has never been on the cover. It's been crazy that he has never been on the cover. And I know I saw your Twitter with this is technically not the first time an Angel's been on the cover, but it is the first time an Angel's been on the cover of a high-profile baseball video game
by himself. By the way, it's just Shohei Ohtani. Like
your mini.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Your video games are considered high-profile, I don't think.
Yeah. No. I mean, when you look at the video games that the Angels have had, that they've had people on the cover for, it's MLB Power Pros, which I know isn't a huge game. Vlad and Francisco Rodriguez, and then I think Slugfest was another one that somebody brought up. Vlad was on that one. But the reason why I bring this up is can there be an argument made for anybody else in baseball to be the face of baseball? Ronald Acuna. You look at somebody from the Dodgers. I don't know if there's somebody there. I mean, Wander Franco down the road.
That's possibly.
Mookie. Yeah, Mookie's been a lot, been said a lot.
Acuna is going to be possible. I'm still not sold on Fernando Tatis Jr. being the face of baseball. It would be hard to tell me that you couldn't throw a Jacob deGrom or Clayton Kershaw on there and say that they're the face of baseball, honestly, at least from a pitching side of things. But from an offense,
I'm just kidding.
No, we've said that's against the rules. That's $5 in the bucket for you. That's a cuss word. Anyway.
Explicit. You have to make this podcast explicit now.
You did. And from an offensive point of view, I mean, the only other guy that I could think of besides the ones that you brought up of Betts and Acuna, Tatis, Trout, Ohtani, you're looking at maybe Aaron Judge just because he's in New York, And I'm not going to say that Aaron Judge is face baseball by any means, but the dude is one of the largest human beings to ever play baseball. He hits the ball a long way, and he plays in the biggest market in America. So that would be the only reason that you could push him, but I don't think he is putting up the same numbers as, a Mookie Betts, a Mike Trout, a Shohei Ohtani.
Yep, I'm with you there on that one. John, is there anybody else that you can think of that you can make an argument for? I know now we're getting the fan standpoint, so I know you want Shohei Ohtani to be the face of baseball. And I know for
go ahead. You know for a fact what?
I was gonna say I know for a fact you don't want Mookie Betts to be the face of baseball.
No, I don't want Mookie Betts to be the face of baseball. Definitely. Well, I mean, I think it's kind of hard to argue. I guess you can't have him on there every year, but as long as he continues to pitch and hit very well, I don't know how you could, Aaron Judge came to my mind too, but strictly because he's a Yankee. I was thinking big market. You got to put a big market guy on there. So that's really the only reason Aaron Judge would come into the conversation for me is because of that. And then, yeah, I guess you're looking at Dodgers. I guess you could go Mookie, but as far as I'm concerned, yeah, like I said, we'll see how long this lasts. He can do from both sides of the plate. I hope he can do it for a long time. But as far as this year, I don't think it was questionable that you could put anybody else on there. I mean, he got what is it called? The Historical Commissioner's Award. I mean, he got about every award you can get this year. Not the Cy Young, but anyways.
He did. Yeah, no, literally he got every award. He was like, he actually modeled in something too. I know that came out a couple of weeks ago that I forgot what it was, GQ or something like that. I think it was like,
he did.
Pretty big thing on that side of things. So the only thing I don't think he won, I think LeBron won it for some strange reason, was the ESPN Sportsman of the Year or something like that. ESPN just completely goofed on what they were doing there.
ESPN didn't goof. ESPN doesn't support baseball.
That's fair.
ESPN does not.
That is another argument to be had. We do not need to knock on that door.
They only watch basketball and sometimes football. Let's be honest. Stephen A. Smith didn't even know what the Astros did. So let's just move on from that combo.
That's fair. So there was a big meeting today. There was a fairly big meeting today. We had no progress. It was, like I said, something that I wasn't sure we were going to talk about just because there wasn't a huge talking point. It just didn't seem like anything went anywhere with the conversations. But I know that John wanted to bring some questions to the table because I'm sure a lot of people do have questions about what's kind of going on in the background. And there's not a lot of people that are explaining it well, in a sense. I mean, you go look at Jeff Passan, but even like to a lot of to the casual fan, it doesn't make sense, what's going on. So, John, hit us with your questions.
So I think I'm going to try to make sense of it then. So I just looked at they highlighted the major points of what's going on, what the conflicts are. First one was playoff expansion, which just says the owners are for, and I get that. They want more money and the players don't want to play more games, right? I mean, that's basically what the playoff expansion thing where they're disagreeing, right?
Yes. And we have how many? So how many teams are in right now? Are there 12 teams in, or are there less than that? I'm trying to remember. There are 12 teams in right now, 12. Right? Okay, 12. So there are 12 teams in right now, and the owners are trying to get it to 14. I don't think the players are too much.
I don't think that's a big deal. I think both sides are pretty cool with that. I think the only issue with that is where the money goes, because I know when they add the extra team, the players are saying, okay, if we're going to add an extra team, we want a little bit more of the bonuses that we get from adding a team to the playoffs. And that's where the issue is coming up, where it's like, hey, that's great. Like, we'll add an extra team, but we want some more. We want some more of the pie.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly where it's going to be at.
So then my next question is about the international draft. It says that the players would only do it if they had made significant concessions. So how does this is the downside? Explain to me the international. We don't have. I know we have a way. Explain to me the international draft, because we don't have one, right?
Jared, I'll let you take this away, even though we both got this.
So right now,
this is your deal.
So right now, teams get a allotted amount of money, depending on, I believe it's depending on where they finished last season.
Also depends on how much money they spent in the year, and also how much they use in free agency.
Yes. So it varies. There's a formulation. I don't even know it. We don't even really need to go into it. There's a formulation of how many $1 million each team gets towards the international signing side of things. So there are a certain amount of players.
International signing bonus, right?
That's correct.
I know that something. It's called. I couldn't remember the term of that.
Yes.
But does this change it? Does this turn it from that to a draft?
Yes.
This is what I believe the players are hoping for, if I'm not mistaken, or the owners are definitely.
No, it says the owners. It says the owners are the ones who want it. The players would want significant concessions to allow that to happen.
So I think they want. It's one of those things where we'll give this to you, but we want something in return. Like, I don't think the players have a big problem with the draft. I think it's more of like, okay, this is something you guys want really bad. We will give this to you, but we want this in return.
Yep.
And that's kind of the sticking point with that.
Yeah. So instead of signing kids for a allotted amount of money, so like the Angels signed Nelson Rada this year for $1.8 million, I think, or something, $1.6 million, something in that range, is where they signed their top international free agent this year. The Angels would have to draft him now instead. If
12th
that's who they
overall or
liked.
11th overall.
Yeah, 11, 10, whatever. If it was the same draft style as what it would be for the amateur draft, which is college players, yeah, that's how that would roll. It would be really interesting though, because a guy like Shohei Ohtani, like you can draft guys from Japan now, I believe. That's
I
going to be
don't
pretty.
think so.
That's
what I was going to
funny
ask you. So this is a South America thing only, exclusively South America?
I don't think Japan would be eligible to be drafted just because they are under contract. That's the one difference between the Latin kids and Shohei Ohtani type of players is Shohei Ohtani and those guys are under contract. So you're giving money to the Japanese team, where in the Latin communities, those guys aren't under contract. So we're giving you money to come play for us.
You'd
so
have to get. I think you'd have to end up giving them major league contracts in a sense. So Shohei Ohtani got his 6-year rookie contract because he came over to the major league. I think that at this point you now have to give them a professional contract or a minor league contract, whatever you want to sign them to, just like you get the
same
guys,
thing in the MLB draft.
Yeah, just like you get the guys that are coming over that went and played in Japan. I'm trying to think of the big ones. Eric Thames, Josh Lindblom was another one. That was another big guy.
Nick Martinez.
Yeah, those guys that come back over, I think you almost have to give them professional contracts then and not start them on a rookie year contract, if that makes sense. I don't know how that's where things are going to get really interesting.
I don't think anything would change with Japan. I think that agreement was signed a couple of years ago, and that's a separate thing. That's just between Japan and Major League Baseball.
That makes sense. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think that there's going to be a international draft regardless of what happens. I think it needs to happen. So.
Yes.
Anything
else, John?
Yep.
Just a couple I already know. They're talking about the competitive balance. That's a salary cap. I understand that. They don't want that. The minimum salary, they want to increase that, which I guess that's nice. But and then revenue sharing, which I'm surprised, which the players don't want because they see they see it as tanking. But the one I didn't understand was the draft. So they want to have a lottery for the draft.
They want it to be like the NBA. So the NBA, the worst team does not automatically get the number one pick. And the MLB players are thinking that they will not have teams like the Orioles, the Pirates, and all these teams who are trying to get last place and basically replicate what the Astros did and get last place for a couple of years, get a number one pick 2 or 3 times, and completely change the franchise in 5 years. But it just kills the way the game's played because now you have a team like the Orioles or the Pirates who are winning 52 games, and it's like they're 52 and 110, and it's just not good for the game. And those teams also aren't spending money either. So that also is a big deal for the players where it's like not only are they not trying, but they're not spending money, and that's killing their livelihood.
Okay. That's it. That's all I got.
Perfect. Oh, I hope that we have shed some light on some things. I think when it comes down to it, I think it has to do with money at the end of the day. Like that is the biggest thing. Like, both sides are going to ask for so much, and I think at the end of the day, you got to find that middleman. I don't know where it's going to be, but you got to find that middleman somewhere. And the way it looks, teams, they're just so far apart. It'll be interesting to see. It's going to take, one meeting at a time to really see if they can, get stuff nailed down in a sense. I know that they've talked about the DH is going to be a thing and such like that, but you're going to have to find some type of common middle ground because this is going to last a while if we're going to continue to do this. I know the teams don't want to miss games, and I know the players don't want to miss games, but at this point it's almost inevitable. It feels like. I know we're sitting here in the beginning of February, but I hope that everybody likes minor league baseball because that's what we're going to be getting a lot of here fairly soon if that's the case. So, before we let everybody go, any final thoughts? Nate, I'll start with you. You got anything for us?
Yeah, I actually do, and I haven't brought this up, and I'm kind of upset that I keep forgetting about it. But the guy who keeps drawing Mike Trout every single day for the lockout, that is awesome. If you have not seen that, go on Twitter and look it up because that is awesome. He is drawing a different Mike Trout every single day of the
Oh.
lockout.
Yes.
Check that out. It is awesome. I don't remember his name on Twitter, but all you have to do is type in Mike Trout lockout and it should come right up. It's awesome.
Yeah. I've seen I saw the one today.
Yankee
And he
fan,
was
too.
I think Trout was laying on a bed or something like that, laying on a couch. That was one of them. That was pretty funny. So, John, you got any final thoughts before we let everybody go?
Just going back to that, expanding the fan base here. I don't know if you're aware, Jared, that I have not only been interviewed by Japanese television once, I have now been interviewed by Japanese television twice during the season. During two different seasons. I've never seen these interviews because they're obvious.
I had somebody bring it to my attention that I got mentioned in an article before as well. And you'd have no clue because you wouldn't know, but somebody brought it up to me. They're like, "Hey, you're in this." And I'm like, I would have no clue. I can't read this at all. And there's no translation either. So
yeah,
but yeah, it's super cool. I'd love to go, overseas to Japan or something like that and watch a game because it's a different atmosphere. We've talked about this so many times, like World Baseball Classic and such. It's just a different atmosphere, and I think it's so cool. I think that baseball in the United States is just so singular, and you get it, you branch out, and it's just so much. It's so different. It's like soccer in Europe in a sense, like fans go crazy for that in Europe, and that's how it is. That's how it is in Dominican and the islands. That's how it is in Japan. That's how it is in a lot of places, and super cool. So, Nate, what do you got? You look like you want to say something.
No, we're all good. This is awesome.
Well, one more thing. I didn't see you in that picture. You shared some when I shared my Mike Trout, how close I got to Mike Trout. I didn't see you in. You shared a picture that I think you're in. Are you in that picture?
I'm in the background, yeah.
Yeah, I know. You've told me many times you have this picture where you are in it. I need to look for you. What are you wearing?
Just look for this right here.
Yeah.
Oh, look for that. Okay.
Yeah, that's him.
I have the whole Trout interview. Yep, I did that. I also did Trout's press conference when he signed the big extension. I'm in the background of that video that I sent you. I don't know if you can see me. It's me, Brent, and Taylor Blake Ward, not Taylor Ward.
World famous
Taylor Blake Ward. Yeah.
Get it right.
We're in the background. All three of us did that, and I was on ESPN. Taylor asked a question. They zoomed in on Taylor, but I'm right next to him. It's pretty cool too. That's my claim to fame. Those days are always so much fun, when you get to do anything Mike Trout. So, guys, I just want to say thanks so much for listening to this podcast here at Talking Halos, making us the best Angels podcast out there. I really do believe it. Just thank you so much. If you could subscribe wherever you're listening, follow Talking Halos on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You can follow myself on Twitter at Jared_Tims. You can follow Nate at NateGreen34, and you can follow John at Jegs Craine. John, go do it because both of them are on Twitter and enjoying themselves on there. So, guys, thank you so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day.